Alright guys, this is going to be a little bit of a review on what I find to be one of the best content releases this game has had in a very long time. And I want to break it down to you guys and explain why I believe this is the way going forward and why I think Crunchyroll, the developers, and the publishers and owners of the IP Capcom have done a great job with this event. So first I want to talk about something real quick. I know when we heard there's going to be a collab unit, specifically when we found out especially it's going to be like Dante or whoever the case may be, could have been anybody really, but when we found out it was a collab unit, a lot of us were up in arms. They kept saying this is too early, this is too early. I still think it's too early. Don't get me wrong. I think they're just dropping bombs in terms of characters as fast as they possibly can. Luckily, in this case, Dante isn't the bee's knees, right? We don't need him. There's nothing that he brings to the table that's out of the ordinary or that breaks the game in any way, shape, or form. So in that regard, I have to say I'm actually very happy that I didn't have to worry about that at all, because I feel like sorry guys, everyone here is just requesting, so I'm just going to quickly read everything. Everybody here knows that when we heard about Dante, people were either super excited about it, super scared because they didn't know how their wallets were going to look, or some people were just fed up, right? And I have to say, there's an alleviated pressure, right? There's a big pressure that's been removed, I think, and a big sigh of relief for many people when we found out Dante wasn't the best character in the game or isn't going to be another MH Ken, because MH Ken we know is a huge impact, but Dante really can't hold a candle to him. Let's be real. So I think in that regard, it really helped, because people stopped focusing on getting Dante after a day because they realized how mid he was, or how decent he is, but nowhere near what people were first thinking a character of Dante's name would ever bring to the table. So I'm really happy about that. Not gonna lie to you guys, I think it's a sigh of relief for the entire community. But what I do want to focus on is the actual event. Now, as a content creator, personally, it's been very nice for once to have guides to an event that's not just boss related and gimmicky related, right? And what I mean by that, with Akuma, the portal thing was super easy. There was no real battle. There was really no strategy behind it. All you have to do is just get in there, do the simple battles, follow the storyline, get your rewards, and get out, right? There was really no thought process behind it. With the new Explore system that they put in place, including the brand new workbench, I thought it was magnificent. They did such a good job with this. And not only did it make it feel more like an actual adventure to get to Dante and to finish it, but it also made things challenging, which is a breath of fresh air, because quite honestly, the new workbench model, the fact that there's so many open slots and there's so many different buffs and debuffs, etc., that you can apply to your modules, made this entire system really appealing and gave it flair that it missed out from all the other events, right? And not to mention the fact that there was no time gating this time. It was all about just module gating, which is a form of technically time gating, but it's not quite the same, right? So the Explore, I think, was the best part of this whole thing. There was puzzles, there were multiple different fights, there were different environments, there were different bosses, different forms of Dante that you got to experience, and then again, you were given the ability to actually jump in and do different things through the Explore system to get 100%. So rewards were good, challenge was even better. So I applaud this. I think this is a good step in the right direction. And as a content creator, again, it's actually nice to create guides that actually help people rather than here it is, right? So with that being said, there's also a couple extra things they added into the boss fights, which I really liked as well. You got the 3 Dante. So as you've progressed through Explore, so there's a reason to progress through this, right? As you progress through it, you actually unlock the first Dante, and then the second Dante, and then the third Dante. These are not given to you over time. You actually have to put work into unlocking these bosses. So that was really cool. And the fact that they gave us multipliers to kind of work with, this is very inverse world-like, also gave a degree of challenge to the bosses and made you kind of play around with what debuffs were good. Now, one thing that I didn't like is the numbers here don't reflect what actual damage you do, so they never really explain why the numbers differ. So, for example, I did like 5 billion damage, ended up with 2.5 million, right? So that part kind of sucked, but I do like the fact that the workbench applies to this as well, and not just towards the Explore section. So kudos to them on that one. I think they did a good job with that. The grants are there for free as well to get some extra things, some perks, right? So overall, boss fights were great. Single boss fights, you get to see Dante in normal form, you get to see Dante in demon form, you get to see Dante in demon form and Bison at the same time. So this allowed for multiple degrees of different teams, right? You can use For example, Fashion Blanca to do the multi one, or you can do Trendy Cami here or Akuma here to do the single bosses, making you kind of switch your team around, Viper, Guile, etc. Right? So it's kind of nice to have different variety of teams used for different challenges. The leaderboard, of course, is going to be global, including server. I'm surprised no one's beaten me yet. I have to try this again and beat my original score. But I think in that regard, the boss is actually good. So another good step in the right direction. So that part was great. The agency itself, pretty straightforward. They gave you little tasks here to do. Here's the newest one, right? Win the battle, have 4 wind fighters, deploy Chun-Li and Guile, win the battle within 10 seconds, unleash super combo no more than 2 times. Let's just do this while we're at it. I think this was also a really good addition too, because it forced you to kind of play with different units. Nothing really was pay to win here as well. I've done everything with my free to play. There was one section where you have to use a legendary fighter. So if you don't have Fashion Blanca as a free to play, you kind of are screwed in that one, but 1 out of all of them is not that bad. So let's go in here and actually get this one done. So Guile, Bizang, Chun-Li, and we'll do Street Poison here. And for the fun of it, let's just go up here and up here. And so, yeah, so I mean, this was actually not bad either. So again, very free to play friendly, pretty easy to do. So let's do this, this, and then this. And you can do this easily as a free to play. I did it on my other account as well too. So again, very, very friendly. And I like the fact that it's not always Dante that you're fighting. You're actually fighting a degree of different units all the time, right? So you can see here, everything's done. 1 shot, 1 go, 1 kill. Get all these rewards. And I actually really do like the new star system as well. So let's talk about the star system real quick. So this little system here in place, once I get that done, these stars did multiple things. Number one, they give you more efficiency, so 210 per minute. The moment you increase that, the more of these you get, which help you with the workbench. And then also, if you click on this and you change it, these are also locked behind stars. So you have to go through Explore to unlock some of these extra bonuses. So that was kind of cool. Now, the one downside to this, of course, the fact that they never really explained how the modules work fully. So I had to do a lot of testing. I gave you guys proper information, but there was a lot of back and forth and miscommunication between myself, some other content creators, etc. But we all got it ironed out and we figured it out. So if you want to know how modules work, check out the other videos. I go through them pretty thoroughly and I talk about it top to bottom. So there's no misconceptions or confusion. Okay. Now, with that being said, guys, as good as this event has been so far, I hope Crunchyroll really listens to this one. All it takes, guys, and the devs specifically, for you to make this almost like a, not flawless, I won't say flawless, but a very good, very like top of the notch event, is you have an accompanied banner that comes with every event, right? You guys really need to put a pity in place. If you guys just did that, just that simple thing, put a pity in place, I think, personally, this game would have a turnaround. And I don't mean that in a sense of like, the game will be all of a sudden 10 times better. What I mean is your retention for your players will increase tenfold. You'll keep players intact if they know there's a pity in place. No matter how good your event is, if people can't get the character they want, it's going to be a problem. But nonetheless, without the pity, it makes it a little more difficult for people to stay, because there are people that are going to get shafted, even though there's going to be people who are going to be extremely lucky as well. So it's going to work one way or the other, but everybody takes it very personal when they are shafted. So adding a pity in place, Crunchyroll, if you're listening to this at all in any way, shape, or form, and the devs, putting a pity in place, you guys would cement yourself as one of the top idle games in the industry by just doing that alone and having an event like this play out again in the future, where it's challenging, it's fun, it's not gated by time. It allows content creators to converse with their community a lot more, and it lets the community work together to build better builds and modules to beat it. And I think the bosses themselves are great. I think you've done a stellar job with this event personally, because it's free to play is able to beat it, as I showed in my other video. I got 100%, and the pay to win are able to beat it as well. And it's not too far off in terms of how long that takes, and also just a great format. But please, 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 the one thing you're missing is a pity. Place a pity into your game, because it's archaic not to have one. And quite honestly, it's just rude and mean, right? So like, just having a pity system, guys, would completely change this game around in my system. And the players you're losing would come back, I promise you. I almost guarantee it if they knew a pity was put in place, and they would then again enjoy the game. Because a lot of people don't just play for content. A lot of people do play this game for the units. So by taking those away, you're leaving a big gap of a population that is either leaving or will not come at all when they find out there's no pity. Anyways, guys, this is Payne. Hope you enjoyed the video. Love the event, guys. Great job. I hope we get future events like this. Keep it up. I find events are getting better and better every time we see them. So hopefully Crunchyroll and the devs continue doing a great job with the event section of things. And we just see that pity eventually show up. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.